Why this model that you talk about? The big crunch? Yeah. The reason minority of the scientists accept that model and the majority reject it, because even in science, just like in religion, there's a majority view and minority view. Okay, so there are hypotheses which people can bring in their own opinion. Scientists are not going to say we reject everything. Yes, so they will say, okay, bring your hypothesis, and then we will test it. Once they test it and they have disproven it, then they reject it.
But that's not to say in the future that these hypotheses might mature into a theory, correct? In the future they might. There is that possibility. There is the possibility.
No, here.
100 years.
Okay, hear me out.
You have to give that.
Yeah. Hear me out. Why do you think the scientists rejected it?
Well, they reject it now.
No, but why? Why? Have you looked into that?
No.
Because I have. It is because of the second law of thermodynamics. You know what that is? It's called entropy.
Yeah.
It's called entropy. You know what's entropy? Okay. So basically, every system, yes, you will find energy. When energy becomes unusable, then it's like, like a top. When you were a kid, you played with tops, yes, and you spin it, and then it runs out of energy, and then it stops. Okay? They say that it's entropy basically. The energy becomes unusable at a certain level, and then that's the reason you have the system is not, like I said, in the case of the top, not as effective as it was earlier. So what I'm saying is that because of this, then you cannot have these cyclic universes.
But don't these laws break down in the quantum level? All these laws you're talking about in the quantum level, they can.
You know what is quantum level? At a microscopic level. We are not talking about a macroscopic level. The universe, it has a macro level. So you're talking about, again, different dimensions. Sorry.
Laws we know now break down on the quantum level.
No, it's just because.
So that doesn't mean in the future, 100, 200 years from now, we can have a good model that supports an infinite.
No. What you're talking about breaks. I'll tell you why. But I'm telling you why.
Yeah.
I'm telling you why. You made a postulation. I'm telling you why it cannot be the case. Because this quantum level, what you're talking about, yes, maybe it is also possible that they don't understand it now.
No, they don't understand it fully. They know a little bit.
Exactly my point. So maybe in future they'll find the reason why these things are occurring from different places. Yes? Because right now what they say is that all this is happening in a quantum vacuum. And the quantum vacuum is not nothing. It is something which they don't understand it yet. So maybe there's an explanation in the future for it. But you cannot say that a thing as massive as the universe came from nothing. You cannot say that this big crunch and the cyclic. Yeah, so this infinite big bangs and big crunches, these are hypotheses. So these are basically opinions of people. By the way, there are certain people who said that the universe was made in some alien lab. And you know where this was published? It was published on Harvard, on the website of Harvard University. Because they would publish anything any scientist would say. But they wouldn't accept it as a theory. Because these are opinions and they'll accept anything. So they said there's this, some scientists saw some big shape of this meteor in the shape of a cigar. And they thought that was actually the aliens coming into our universe. And they created all this, like some nonsense, wallahi. Made in a universe, alien universe. Sorry, alien kitchen. Sorry?
Why are you smiling at that?
Oh, you think alien?
There's literally as much evidence of that than your thing.
What did I say? What is your understanding of God? You don't even have. You say, every time I ask you, you say, I don't know. At least I know that aliens didn't make us in a kitchen. Okay, and that's what I'm laughing at or smiling at. Unless you believe that.
Well, I don't know.
maybe a product of an alien kitchen, I don't know.
I'm guessing not, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you believe in aliens?
There's probably some sort of life somewhere.
Why do you believe that? Do you have any evidence for it?
Oh, he's got another argument.
No, because you never said that when I asked you about God. You never said probably there's a God.
No, so
but when I asked you about an alien, you said probably there's an alien.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what you could have told me instead of saying probably there's an alien. You see what I mean? you're giving special. There's special pleading for anything except God.
Probably means you don't know.
He wants you to keep an open mind, basically. You know, there are some people that are saying this is a simulation. We
Yeah.
live in a computer program, and we're simulated by
Yeah.
another alien species. Now, that may sound ridiculous, but it does have some basis. It's not completely insane. You know?
Actually, if you ask me, that is completely insane because those people are not in touch with their reality.
You could make an argument that this is a computer simulation.
What? Then you're not in touch with your reality, my
We live
friend.
in a very advanced computer program created in the
That just shows that you're not in touch with your reality. If that is the claim that they're making.
I'm saying you keep an open mind.
No, but hold on. Keeping an open mind could be any ridiculous thing.
I'm not saying accept it.
I think, look, my God-given intellect will not allow me to accept any nonsense that comes from anyone. So if you if you want to believe that you're a product of an alien kitchen, or if you want to believe that you're some sort of a brain in a jar, or if you want to believe that you're in a computer simulated environment,
Accepting is one thing. Keeping an open mind and researching and looking into things is something.
yeah, my research and my intellect tells me that being in touch with reality would actually exclude those kind of doubts you have.
I'm just saying.
A computer simulation, a brain in a jar, a product of aliens. I mean, come on, where does it end? Where do you draw the line about sanity then?
But some people would use that phrase in touch with reality about religious people.
What? People like you?
No, I wouldn't.
Well,
saying-
it just shows, look, it just shows,
I would say
if,
I don't-
you know, there are certain people out there where their religious understanding is like believing that in aliens, for example. So if that is their religion, then I would say yes, they have lost touch with their reality.
You don't believe in aliens?
No, I don't believe in aliens creating me. I mean, look, there's a possibility.
Hold on, you don't believe in aliens?
No, I wouldn't say that. I said there's probably aliens. I wouldn't completely say there's no aliens because right now I have nothing in my religion which says that
know.
there's no aliens.
You don't know.
No, I said about creation.
Go on.
We were talking
You
about
don't know.
creation.
You don't know. Go on, say it.
Say what?
So,
Yeah, I don't know if they're aliens or not.
good.
So what's that? Wait. How is that different to me saying there's probably aliens?
So could we
Nothing.
No, you said that to me.
I wish you said that about God.
No, I
That
said
probably there is a God. I
aliens.
wish you said that. Then we would be on the same level.
You said you don't know about aliens.
Yeah, I don't.
Could you hypothesize that maybe we've been genetically engineered by aliens, like or a higher species? Why not?
Look, you can if you want to. No, hold on. Look, if you want to believe that,
No. I'm not saying believe it. Believing it. I'm saying something you can entertain, something you can sort of.
first and foremost, wait. First and foremost, before you say that I'm genetically modified by an alien, I need to first,
Genetically engineered by
yeah,
higher.
modified, engineered, semantics, yeah. I need to first believe an alien, right?
You said you don't know.
Exactly, which means that I don't believe it. Which means there's a problem. No, hold on. If I say I don't know, it doesn't mean. Sorry, I said wait. But
You don't know.
no, I said probably there are aliens. These are the exact words I used. Yes.
You don't know.
Yeah. So if I don't know, that means first I need to know for certain before I start believing. I need to start before I start believing that they have. You know, first the aliens need to exist before I believe that they acted on anything. You see what I mean?
No,
You
I'm
know,
saying
human imagination is such that you can claim anything. You can think of anything. You can dream of anything.
It's also what made us evolve and develop is imagination.
Well, I don't think I'm evolved. I think I was made like that.
No, like
I don't know about you.
How did we develop? When scientists came, they said,
I don't think I've evolved. I think I'm a human from the very beginning,
when,
including my generations before me, including the first man, Adam. If you guys came from chimpanzees or apes, I don't know about your ancestors, but my ancestors were definitely human.
Galileo said the sun orbits around the Earth. They thought he was insane. They thought he was crazy until he was proven to be right over time.
And
So it's okay and it's good to have an open mind, to research other things,
no, but look,
to entertain other things, but not believe. No,
hear me out. Muslims, alhamdulillah, had never problem being with open mind. Some of the earliest Muslims, they did experiments and they discovered things, you know.
So why
Ibn
do you laugh
Ibn
at
Haytham, because what you're saying is insane. It's why? Like I said, would you believe everything you hear?
No, I didn't say believe.
Okay.
I said something to keep
Then I wouldn't believe it either. That's what I said, my friend. What's the difference between you and me? Nothing.
an open-minded.
No, open mind. Wait. Open mind means you believe it, right?
No. doesn't.
Then what does it mean?
It means you read about it, research it. You don't necessarily have to believe it.
Okay.
I can read the Bible. I can read science fiction books. I can read what's
So-
Star Trek,
Yeah.
just to see. Doesn't
Okay.
mean
So by you seeing it, what does that mean? What does it mean?
it expands.
For you reading fiction, watching fiction, what does it mean? It just means you entertain yourself with these things. But then the question still remains. Wait. The question still remains. By seeing this fiction and by by reading fiction and watching fiction, what does it mean? It just means you enjoy fiction, right? But how does that relate to the reality? That was my question. All I'm saying is that if you start mixing fiction with reality, then I think that brings in the question about your sanity as well.
Fiction is, when you write fiction, you're in the real world. It's derived from reality.
So why do you call it fiction then? Why do you call it fiction then?
Arts, literature, these are all fiction, but they're derived.
But why does the library have a special section for fiction? Why?
It's fiction, but it's
Okay, and what is the meaning of fiction?
not real.
Thank you, I rest my case. That's what I've been telling him, that this is what differentiates reality from fiction. And the reason you still call it fiction is because we haven't actually, we haven't categorized it as reality, because it's not reality. And the reason, there wouldn't be any difference between people who are sane and insane if you're going to keep such an open mind to accept all unreality. You see what I mean? The reason that psychologists have diagnosed them as being insane and they put them in an asylum is because they have lost touch. Not because the doctors are saying, oh my goodness, the guy's got an open mind. Let's come on, guys, let's come down back to earth. Forget about the aliens, forget about the fiction, the reality. No, you guys started with the aliens. I gave you the example of what people will publish. Even Harvard University on their website will publish any professor who says that he will believe in some cigar-shaped meteor, which is actually one of the spaceships of the aliens who manufactured us, humankind, in their lab, in the lab or in the kitchen or wherever.
I would say that you believe in that cigar-shaped meteor.
No, this professor.
People would say that you believe in that cigar-shaped meteor.
Don't put words in my mouth. You have a habit of doing that.
No, I'm not putting you. I'm saying something.
Okay, I don't believe it. I've told you categorically. If they believe it, then they, like I said, they have lost touch with reality. Because when you start bringing fiction into your real world and start believing that, then there is where the insanity becomes insanity.
Even in religion, there are some sort of fictitious elements.
Okay, define fictitious. Because I wouldn't call miracles and fiction the same. Miracle is something that science cannot prove or science cannot explain. A miraculous phenomenon. In fact, there are many miraculous phenomena that happen in the universe all the time. And that's the reason they call it a phenomenon which they cannot explain. To me, that is what a miracle is. But if something is a fiction, then it is not even real. That alone, you cannot explain it. Are you with me?
So a miracle can't be a fiction?
No. A miracle is something, by definition, which science cannot explain, which we in our naturalistic world cannot explain. Because if you could explain it, then it wouldn't be a miracle. And that's why you have to distinguish between a fiction and miracle. One can happen in real life, in real world, but you can't explain it. Fiction is not even real. Again?
Describe a miracle that's happened.
The universe is a miracle. I think you're a miracle. Yeah. Can anyone create you?
It's a physical process. There's an explanation.
What is the physical process for the universe to come into existence? You can't.
Something that can't be explained. So
Okay, explain to me how the first cell came into being.
no, I've asked you.
What?
I've asked you to describe a miracle that's happened.
I just told you yourself.
No, it's not a miracle because there's a
Okay, let me break it down to the simplest form.
Origin of life? Or
Yeah.
origin of...
So origin of life, which is abiogenesis. If you have studied that, you will realize that the first cell, they cannot explain how it came into being. And to me, that is a miracle itself.
It's a miracle now. You're saying there's miracles.
Yeah. So cells, do cells exist?
the abiogenesis, the first experiment, the Miller-Urey experiments,
Yeah.
says that the origin of life were basic amino acids.
Yeah.
And they were caused by having sunlight, and you need some sort of cosmic soup that existed within a cosmic soup, lighting, and then that's where the first.
You believe that?
That's where the first amino acids were.
No, but do you actually believe that?
It's a scientific experiment.
I know it's an experiment, but did they actually produce something from nothing?
No, it's not from nothing. It's from a cosmic soup. It's from a soup, basically a soup. Chemical processes, lightning, a certain atmosphere. You can recreate it in a lab,
Yeah.
and you can produce amino acids. That's all you can produce. And they say that.
Amino acids doesn't explain. Okay.
But they say that's the basic
Yeah.
unit of.
Many people said that these things came from space as well. Yeah. So there are different theories about this. But the point still remains. You know, if you look at the simplest cell, yes, any cell.
Now, some cells are very complex.
I know, but it's still a single cell.
Amino acids are the first.
In fact, even
That's the first.
even amino acids are complex. They're not something which is simple.
And then you can produce them in a lab.
I don't think so.
You can. Yeah.
No.
Look up Miller-Urey experiments.
Yeah. So it's not from nothing. It's from something. Yeah. So maybe there are. So these processes which you talk about are still taking place in a lab which is controlled experiment, right?
Yeah.
But when we look at,
Conditions of the early.
okay, hear me out. When we look at the early Earth, it wasn't a controlled lab. Okay, so we cannot. This is false equivalence. If you think a controlled lab experiment is the same as a natural process in the early stages of the Earth, then it's not the same, my friend.
They recreated the early state of the earth.
They have never seen the early process, have they?
They know what it was. It was
How did they know?
you need water, first of all. You need lighting. You need certain chemical processes to take place, and you can produce amino acids.
Yeah, in a controlled lab environment. I keep telling you this, which is not a replication of the early Earth. I'm sorry to say this. A control experiment. Hold on, a controlled experiment is not the same as how the early Earth was. There's no way. Okay? How do I know? Because when I say control, it means what you do is you bring certain elements in a controlled lab. That means you must have the right temperature, the right elements that you're using, the raw materials. Everything is already there. How did they know that was the case back then? By chance. You see what I mean?
You need water. You need
Look, my friend, it doesn't matter how you look at it. The point is, by the way, I like the way you said the cell is a complex thing. Yes, it is. The cell is so complex that it has its own, its own generator, like the mitochondria. Yes, which gives us energy. It's all inbuilt into this single cell. You don't think that's a miracle to come about by itself, by chance, like you said? There you go. If it came by chance, that's a miracle to me.
You have to study abiogenesis, right? Abiogenesis experiments say that the first building blocks of life were amino acids.
Yeah, and
then over time, they evolved into cells. Millions of years.
no, but look, this is jumping. Honestly, this is a leap of faith to say that amino acids in a controlled environment automatically led to first cell. You know, it's too much. There's a lot of things which just come about by chance. It is basically, you know, it is more complex than me saying that a jet come about by itself from the junkyard. It is more complex than that. You see what I mean? So anyone who tells me that these leaps of faith by scientists, that is how, you know, they are just trying to explain things. One thing I've noticed about scientists is that they are willing to accept everything except God. Except God. And that's the reason even scientists who bring into the equation God, they are actually rejected from their fields at universities. They will be actually, you know, just chucked out. Because this is a prejudice they have against, they have a prejudice against people who believe in God. This is quite natural in all major universities.
A lot of scientists like Martin are theists. They do believe in God, but they don't think they have. But they don't think he has a direct sort of interference with nature. They believe.
No, they already have made up their mind that if we explain anything, it has to be from the naturalistic world. It has to be from a naturalistic process. Yes, and this is what they have indoctrined. Yes, people like this gentleman and other atheists and other agnostic in this world today. Because what they do is they have told them there is no way that God could have done this. So you need to explain it through the natural process. Otherwise, you're fired from the university. You cannot be a professor. You cannot be on the board. You cannot be anything. And this, to me, this is not open-mindedness. Okay, the open-mindedness that they seek from us, they don't give this opportunity to the people who believe in God. They don't. Unfortunately, at least the religious people, people who believe in religion, they have no problem with science as long as the science doesn't impose on them that the only way is the natural process and you cannot have God in the equation. That's all. So who has more open mind, the religious people or the scientists? I think it's the religious people.
That's a science organisation.
No, every university, every top university, yes, they don't accept you unless and until you said, oh no, I can explain this through natural processes.
Except an imam who didn't believe in God.
Do you know the definition of imam?
No.
You know what he just asked me? Would I accept an imam who doesn't believe in God? He doesn't know the definition of imam, because an imam by definition is someone who's knowledgeable about God and who believes in God.
Okay, so you wouldn't accept someone in
What's the definition of a scientist?
in your organisation
No, now you tell me what's the definition of a scientist?
believe in Islam.
Yeah,
And the scientists in their organisation
yeah.
don't accept people, so what's wrong with that?
No, what is the definition of a scientist? Okay, does the definition include don't believe in God? Thank you, I rest my case. There you go. Some of the best scientists like Newton, yes, like Gregor Mendel, yes, like Ibn Haytham, all these people who believed in God, yes, they were scientists and beautiful. I mean, their discoveries, their their postulations, they had these credentials of a scientist and a believer in God. So if you're going to tell me a scientist definition includes don't believe in God, I don't think that's a real scientist then. It just shows you're a close-minded, prejudiced person. That's all you are. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for your time, guys. I think we have talked a lot. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't forget to subscribe to Dawah Wise, Mansoor and Hashim's channel. Thank you.